everyone, welcome to the third video in this series of little circular designs from Walk in the Woods by Leila Duly. Today we have a squirrel and some nice mushrooms again and plenty of leaves as always. So let's come in a little closer, have a little look. Let's have a think. Now this squirrel is a grey squirrel. I can tell by the ears, if you're not familiar, the red squirrels have sort of big tufts of fur up on the top of their ears. These are the ones that we tend to get more commonly in England. The red squirrels tend to be just in Scotland. I don't think if I remember rightly, I think the grey squirrels are not native, and we brought them in. They chased all the red ones up to Scotland. This is almond. I'm going to just do a light layer across the whole squirrel in almond just as a base, just to get me started. I'm not doing it in a furry pattern or anything. I'm just going to do it quite just like normal colouring, you know, and we'll start to add in sort of fur lines and things a little bit later, but I just want to get just a little bit down. And while I'm doing this, the reason I do this is I can start to see what's going on with the squirrel, where it is on the page, because sometimes it's not too bad on this one. Sometimes there's things overlapping it or things like that, and I'm not quite sure. Like here, look, this bit I think is the back. This is the front bit here, and this is the back sort of bit. So that sort of made me think, okay, that probably needs to be darker. Then we've got these overlapping leaves, got a little bit down there that we need to remember. That sort of thing's just going on in my head while I'm colouring it. Just sort of noting bits and pieces. Oh, I'm so hot. I put a cardigan on. It was really cold next door. I've come in here and I'm suddenly boiling. I'm just going to open my cardigans while I'm just randomly colouring. So there's a really pale layer. You probably can barely see it on camera, to be honest. Right, that's cardigan undone. But we're going to darken up now. I was going to grab the green gold, but I'm not, because it's actually a metallic pencil. It's lovely, but not what I want for this. So I think, let me have a look. I think the yellow ochre is probably our next bet. It's too yellowy. I think we need to stick with, let's try. It's really tricky. The browns aren't quite right for this. I know what I'm going to do. Right, we're going to go for a warm grey for our first layer of fur. If I can find it, bear with me, sorry. Oh, there it is, I think. Yeah, here it is, warm grey. So we're going to use the warm grey, which is a slightly brownish grey. We're going to use this first. Now, the tail is much thicker, fluffier, and tends to have longer fur than the skin. Not skin, the body. What am I talking about? So I want to do smaller lines on here for the fur compared to here. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. I may forget what I'm doing or to explain it properly, so I thought I would just explain it now. You need a sharp pencil when you're doing fur, because you're doing each individual little line. Are we squiff? Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to start here at the nose and just start putting on little lines like this. You can overlap them. You want them to be slightly different lengths, and you don't want them all to start and end in the same place. It's not always that easy, but I'm avoiding this little bit here. I think this bit might be slightly paler. I don't know why I think that, but I'm trying to remember what they look like, which isn't wise for someone who can't visualise. A bit difficult. I should have brought a picture through, but I'm gonna just go for it. This is slightly browny grey to start with, because they do have the sort of brown bits, and we'll put a grey on top as well. You can see we're getting all these little lines, and the direction is quite important, thinking about which way the fur grows. Now if you're colouring a dog or a cat, and you've got a pet dog or cat, or whatever you might have as a pet, you can look at their fur and see which way it tends to grow. I mean, they might just grow in a higgledy-piggledy mess, I don't know. But I'm thinking the face is going to go this way, and then the body is going to sort of go down here. Now remember, this is the end of the head, and then we go into the body. Now I'm not sure whether I'm want to just start changing direction immediately, so I'm going to go to the paw first, and we know that's going to sort of start at the end, and then it will sort of go down and along its arm like this. My strokes are getting a little bit big. Try and keep them small. It's a patience game, especially when you're colouring something really little. And I'm going to keep turning my pencil to try and find a nice sharp bit. Like that, and just keep building up those lines. I've just had a nice walk into town. So we're going to go up and meet this bit, but this fur is in a different direction. So it's sort of going to curve up like that. Yeah, well, it was raining, but you know, it's England, it rains. I can feel my hair still a bit wet, but I could have used an umbrella. I just find them irritating, to be honest, in and out shops and stuff. So I was much longer than I expected, but that I usually am, because see, this needs to sort of start coming down and round, so it's a little bit tricky to know quite how to do this, but I'm just gonna do it like this and hope it works. I got chatting to someone in a shop. She actually works in the shop. I see her when I go in there. She always in there. And seeing how she was doing. So, because we live in a small town, you know, you just chat to people. And then I went in another shop and started chatting to people there too. So, doing things that, and in the chemist where I went to go to the chemist. That's why I went out to pick up my HRT meds. And I went to chemist and chatted to her, the lady in there. She wasn't a pharmacist, but I don't know what they call her. She dispenses the items, and so chatted to her, and then went into another shop. You know, I wanted to go and ask about advent calendars. Yes, it's too early, I know, but they sell out, and I tend to buy advent calendars for, now these I'm doing a bit longer. I tend to buy advent calendars for my nieces and nephews, some of them, and my parents and my sister, but I'm trying to cut back a bit this year. But so the shop I normally buy them from, they do cards as well, and I thought an advent card would be a little bit cheaper. So, but I bought all the ones in that shop before, they get a new one each year, but you know, I can never remember who's had what. So I thought what I would do this time is go somewhere else. We've got another shop that sells them, and I usually go to the bookshop, and this is a card shop and they sell them. And I didn't know until last year actually that they sold them. So I asked her if they got the cards in, and she said yes. So they will get them in. They haven't got them in yet because they had some Christmas stuff in the shop. So I asked her about it. So I'm going to go in there and get them. Normally I think it's sort of after half term, sort of late October, when they start getting them in, but I shall see. I shall pop in and find out. And then I went into the party shop. We have a sort of party shop that sells balloons and costumes and, you know, all that sort of thing. Right, we're going to switch colours now. I'm going to go for more of a, let me have a look. What colour is that? Yeah, I'm going to go for more of a cold grey. I think the charcoal grey is quite a good one. It's really dark though, so I'm going to have to be a bit careful with how much I use, but I think it's quite a good one because it isn't too pale. I need it to show up because obviously we've already got some colours here, but it's not too cold, silvery, you know. So where should I start this time? I'm just going to do a little bit in the ear, I think, first. We haven't done any there. Just over the top of that black that's there. You can see this is quite dark. but I want a bit there and there. Right, so now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and make defined lines, but not as close together. So we still get our lines and our fur, but we just get little bits of this. So it gets darker, but it's not all of it. And I'm going to go around the eye, this as well. I think maybe it's dark around the eye. I can't remember. So anyway, the party shop, they had in the window they had some cards. They sort of like local touristy type cards, you know, they look a bit like postcards, but they were greetings cards. So I had seen them advertised online because I sort of follow local shops posts and things, you know, and I've been meaning to get some, and I almost walked past and I spotted them in their window, so I went in and grabbed them. So that was good. And because they're sort of pictures from the town, they're quite good for people who, if you're sending to people who live away, you know. But also they're quite good for men, because I find buying cards for men really difficult. You know, I mean, my husband's easy because I know him well, and he likes all sorts of arty things and flowers and anything really. But like my dad is quite old school. He likes flowers, but on a card, you know, it doesn't quite feel right for, you know, I don't know. So and I said this to the guy in the shop, and he said, yeah, there's only so many cards with boats on that you can buy. I was like, yeah, he doesn't even like them. Or football or cricket or old cars or you know, any of those things they put on cards. Golf. Yeah. So yeah, it's really tricky. I'm just randomly adding little lines in all the places I think it needs to look a little bit more furry. And you can start to see, because it's quite a dark colour, the little tufts, which is the idea. But we want to try and put a bit of darker colour here and here, just to show the, you know, so there'd be some shadow under the arm. And remember, for the tail, can make them a little bit longer. So yeah, so I got talking to everybody, which is nice. We live in such a friendly place, you know, and because I go out and about and try and shop local, you sort of get to know everybody in the shops. You know, the one shop where I bought the cards, the guys in the shop that were there, they own that shop and another couple of shops in town, and one of them's is a counsellor, head of the part of the I'm going to go back over and do a little bit more. It's part of the trade of commerce or something, you know, and so very involved in the town. I think I'm getting there. What I'm going to do now is use a bit of slate grey. Now the slate grey is quite brown, despite the name. You can see it's brown from the colour, but I just do want a bit of brown. I'm going to do it in the tail first, because I feel that the tail tends to be more fluffy, more furry, needing more attention, more lines, more layers, etc. Yeah, so it was nice anyway, going out and chatting. I've sort of missed it because I haven't been out very much over the summer. I don't know, I've not had much energy or something. I don't know what it is really, but I know I need to start going out more. And I might be talking about in the other videos that I'd had my blood pressure done. Well, I took it last night and it was 118/78, which is low. Not low, but sort of normal. So it's like, oh, okay. I did 3 different things when I took it. I didn't have any salt on my evening meal at all. Which is unusual for me. It's nice and fluffy. We're going to put a bit of this on the rest as well. I had some chocolate after tea, which I never normally do because it stops me sleeping. But I was so tired, I thought I would sleep, so it was fine. I was wrong, but hey, we won't go there. I won't do that again. and the theobromine in chocolate, and there's more in dark chocolate, which is I had 100% dark chocolate. The theobromine in chocolate apparently opens your blood vessels up, so lowers your blood pressure. However, you have to be a bit careful because there's saturated fat in it, so it's not, you know. And also, if you have a chocolate that's got lots of sugar and dairy in it and things like that, it's not as good, you know, and palm oil and all that. Whereas the chocolate that I had was just 100% cocoa, so it didn't have any nasties in it. Anyway, so I had some chocolate and I tried this new sort of distraction technique. I don't hate, but when I have my blood pressure taken, it really hurts. I don't know if it's just me being oversensitive, but that squeezing hurts, and so it makes me feel like, so that's not very good. So I'm going to use a little bit of Mars Black now. So I thought I need to do something to distract myself from this, because it's not going to be helping my blood pressure. So I decided to concentrate on something. This is Mars Black, and I'm going to do little bits of this all over as well. What I did was I imagined that I was holding a flower, a bit like a daisy type flower, but yellow, maybe a chrysanthemum type flower, anyway, and that I was counting the petals and touching the flower, and it was ever so soft and lovely. And that's what I was thinking about while I was taking my blood pressure. And I think I'm going to do a little bit on the nose here. I think it would be a little bit darker just on that tip there. So that's what I was trying to think about, rather than thinking about the squeezing. And the noise the machine makes isn't very nice either. And so I'm going to take my blood pressure over the next sort of 3 or 4 days and see how it varies. And then what I'm quite interested in, I was also relaxed because no one's out today. You know, it's a weekend, so no one's, well, it's Friday. No one goes out on Friday. Well, I went out, but, you know, no one goes out to work or university or anything like that. So it was a bit more relaxed this morning. And last night, knowing it was just going to be some chill time. There we go. I'm finished with my squirrel now. So I think that helped a lot. Now we've got our mushrooms. Should we do those next? Now what colour should we do? I am rather in love with the sepia light, so I'm going to do those little ones in this, just because I like the colour. I hope that's okay. So I'm just going to put a little layer on to start with, like this, and then just make it darker on the edge and sort of fade it in. I don't know what it is about this colour. It looks almost metallic. I just really like it. It's unlike any other colour, I think, that I've seen in the set of pencils. There isn't a shade like this. And so I think this will be my favourite one that I probably use up. You know how there is in every set, you have a sort of favourite that you either use up first because you love it, or you sort of don't use it because you love it. Now I think we should be using all the colours. You know, life's about fun, enjoyment. Just use the ones you like. What you might find as well is if you use the one you like up, then you'll pick a different one as well instead, a new favourite. You might actually discover a colour that you either didn't know you liked, or you hadn't tried very much before, and suddenly you've got another favourite, you know. So just use all the colours. Don't try and preserve them. I'm just checking I've done all the mushrooms I have. And we've got these little gill areas, and what I really want is a darker version of the sepia light, but we've got the sepia. But let me show you the swatch. The sepia light is this sort of pinkish colour here, but the sepia is nothing like it. This is sort of pink. This is brown. So I think the permanent brown is a closer match, which is what I'm going to use. Here we go. I think I might have done this for one the other day. Permanent brown. Now with our mushrooms yesterday's video, I took notice of every gill on the large ones, but not on the small ones. I'm probably going to do the same thing here because it's so little ickle. I'm just going to block it in, I think. Might make it a little darker just underneath the cap and near the stem, where there might be a bit of shadow, but I'm not going to do each line. You can get a really sharp pencil and do it similarly to yesterday's, but I'm just not up for it. Now the stems, I think a warm grey is probably the best idea. I think I'll go for the Davies grey, and I'm going to just gently fill it in. Is that a mushroom there? If it is, it's not the same as this, it doesn't matter. Fill it in and then just do the edges a little bit darker, maybe the top. I fill it in first because I've got to try and find where it is. Is that all of it? I think so. And then this bit. On yesterday's I missed a few, didn't I, and had to go back. But I'm hoping I'm being a bit more observant today. But who knows? There we go. I don't know if that was a bit or not. Done it now anyway. There we go. Now let's do a few leaves before we do our other mushroom, just to sort of do something a little different. Now I've been sticking to my more olivey greens, and the reason for that is that really in this set it's either bluey greens or olive greens. There's sort of minty greens and viridians and things like that which are very blue, or there's olives, and I'm very happy with olives. I do like them, so that's what I'm sticking to. I am going to start with, what should we do? We've got a fern. Let's start with that little fern down there, and we will do it in, let's use the hookers. I know we're using the same colours, it's just there is quite there's not a massive range of greens. As I say, there's like mint and castle green and things like that, which are really sort of bluey greens. Now I'm going to do the whole of this fern down here. I'm just going to sharpen this, it's really blunt. Just a layer with this. I think there's a little bit, I think this one behind here might be it as well, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to start with this one. So just a layer over all of it to start with. I might actually just put down a little more at the base of each leaf while I'm going through, because I think that sort of makes sense and works. It'll save me having to come back and do it after. I'll just do it as I go along. You don't have to do it darker at the bottom if it's a bit too fiddly. It's not too small. I think some of the other leaves are a little bit smaller. We'll see how we go. But yes, of course it was raining when I left. My sister had terrible rain yesterday. Last week we had loads and loads of rain. This week we've forecast it again. We didn't have quite so much. I mean, it rained, and it was raining this morning, but it's going to be dry for the rest of the day. But the town where she is, the railway station flooded in that it filled where the train lines are filled with water and covered over the tracks, so the trains couldn't run. Fortunately that didn't happen here, and so my boys could get home last night on the train. But it's happened before, I think, where she lives, so I don't know, there must be poor drainage or something, whereas we don't have that happen here, thankfully. So that's good. It might just have been the volume of, because I said, did a river burst its banks and go over, and she said no. It just was literally, the rain was so heavy, and her patio was like a big enormous puddle or pond, but her guttering couldn't cope with the rain and it was dribbling out all over the place. Now I can see under here there's another one. Can you see it behind? But I think I'll colour that in a different colour, or else it's just going to look like a bit of a mishmash. And I feel that this one here and these, they could be the same plant or they could be a different one. I think what I'll do is I'll use a darker colour for this, and I might use it for those as well. Now we don't want to go too dark because we've got our background, but the hookahs is quite dark anyway. If we go for the oxide of chrome, actually it's probably the same darkness, if you know what I mean, as the hookahs green, but it's a different sort of shade of colour, so it won't disappear into the black. Here it is. But it will look different to the, and it will be quite dark. I feel that because they're at the back, be sort of dark and shadowy. So I'm actually just going to do all of the bits that I can see behind, peeping through in this colour, and hope that it's just the same plant. It's really difficult to make it out. I have to always guess a bit on these pictures because there's a lot of grass here as well. I think that's probably it, maybe that bit, but I'm not going to worry too much. And then I'm going to do this bit here. Can you see here? Strange noise. Oh. Yes, it was early this morning. I could hear a noise outside, and it was the someone was having some trees cut down, and they were shredding the bits. So that was quite noisy. I don't know if it's rain. No, it's not. Like on the window, what it is. So I mean, this might not be quite the same plant, but I think it'll work. It's quite nice to have some of them the same as well. See, this one in front looks similar as well, but we'll do that a different colour. It keeps it interesting as well. Now if you want to start doing these base parts a little bit darker, you can. I think I'm going to do that. Just a few more layers of colour. I'm not using a different colour. You could use a darker colour, even perhaps a bit of brown to darken that, because this is a brownish green, but I'm not. I'm just going to layer it up a little bit more. Keep it simple. There we go. Now we've got the tip of it here. I'm getting hungry. It's 10 to 12, but we'll get this done before lunch. My husband was saying, because I was out, the boys had their breakfast really late anyway. Me and him had breakfast together, which was rather nice. We don't usually get just the two of us, because no one else was up. I think I will do these bits too. But I went out before anyone else had any. But we've got all sorts of salad and things that needs using up, so we can have that. There are some sort of falafels, so I was going to call them flaffles, you wouldn't know what I meant. That's what we call them because we're silly. Falafels, I don't know even how to pronounce it anyway. We have some of those, and I think there's some hummus. I think I'm going to do those leaves this colour, just because they'll stand out a little bit better. Now we've got some fallen leaves down here, but I don't think they look the same as this, so I'm going to ignore those for a minute. I won't completely ignore them, but you know what I mean. So this one here, I could do, I think I'm going to do it in the Prussian green. It's quite a nice colour. Now I think this here is the stem of it. We've got a bit of the leaf here, look. But don't forget that one before you go on and do this bit. Yeah, I've got lettuce and spinach, baby spinach. I've got tomatoes, cucumber. Let's say there was hummus. There's all sorts of things to dig into. There's some carrots which I might, excuse me, I might grate, or I might leave for tea time, our evening meal. I will decide about that later. But there's all sorts of bits. But because we shop tomorrow, and I like to try and use things up so that we get fresh. But there's often salad left from the lunch boxes and things, because you know you buy, although I bought some extra salad because we had guests last weekend and they didn't have any. It wasn't, I didn't know how long they'd be staying or whatever, so I just overbought, so they didn't need it, so they didn't stay for lunch, so we can have that. So there's should be some nice things. So I am just colouring this without doing any difference in pressure or layers or anything. I'm going to actually use a second colour to, because it's a large leaf, we've got space to do a little bit more with it. But I'm going to actually do these with this colour too. And then, oh, we've still got a mushroom to do. I wanted to get my green down so that I missed that one. What's the matter with me? I bet you all noticed. Right, why is she not colouring that one? What's special about that one? Nothing. So I'm just going to do this one here. What's coming out a bit darker? Doesn't matter. There we go. Yeah, I think that's it. But I'm going to use another colour on this now. What colour was that? Prussian. I'm going to use some. Have we used it already? No, I didn't think we had the earth green. I'm going to sharpen it. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit on the edges of here. Stem, bottom, and across the veins like that, and then a bit at the bottom. Look at the size of this squirrel. That is a huge mushroom. Whereas the yesterdays had that little snail on it. It's actually tiny. Maybe it's a really small squirrel. I was thinking this morning, I actually made a post about it, about Johanna's new book. It's just under a month to go before it comes out. I'm very excited. I always get more excited about Johanna's books than anybody else's. It is exciting. There we go. I'm wondering whether to use this earth green for, I think I might use it on its own for these leaves here. It is a bit brownish, but I don't think that matters. Some leaves are that colour. It'll just make these look a little bit different because they're drawn differently to the rest. Okay, and I'm going to ignore those leaves down there for a minute. We've got grass. Okay, cadmium green I think I want. Here it is. just going to fill that in. Now you can go a little bit lighter towards the tip, but because it's so small, and most of these tips are really small, I need to put enough down so that it doesn't look white. So I'm just actually going to not worry too much about a difference in layering. I'm just going to get the colour down. Now, got to work out what's grass and what isn't, because we've got these sort of weird shaped things. Well, not weird, sort of, I don't know, different shapes which aren't grass, but I'm going to do this bit down here. I'm going to do these tall ones. Not the squirrel's grabbing at. Got his little paw out in front of him. That's that one. That one is that. So that is that. I think that's a grass. I'm going to do all this down here as grasses. All these little lines. Pretty sure it would be grass, and it should be grass. That bit. Just trying to make sure I get to the end of each tip. There we go. Right, so those other ones I want to do quite a different colour. I'm going to use the terre verde. It needs a sharpen. They're quite small, aren't they? But I think this will help them to look a different colour. So you can sort of distinguish between them, because they aren't grass. Now down here we have to be careful that we're not colouring something we shouldn't, but I think that's right. There, that one, and this one. I think that's it. Now, I still haven't decided whether this is the top of a flat little mushroom or a bit of a leaf. I'm going to just use this to colour this leaf here, and then it will help me to decide. So it's got no veins drawn on it. I can do this leaf the same. So I'm really quite unsure. I'm going to put a darker edge along the vein. I like to do that just to make it stand out a little bit. And I'm going to do a leaf in Prussian green. Let's sharpen it. Maybe this one. I'm thinking this is probably grass, so I'll come back in a minute with my cadmium and pop that, do that bit. Okay, it's a bit darker along each side of the vein. Back to the cadmium green for those bits of grass. You may have done these already. I wasn't sure if they were a leaf, but they're definitely not. Now this one, I think if I do it in the more browny colour, I should go for the earth green, I think. It'll sort of fit in with some of our other colours. A little bit autumnal, which is perfectly fine with me. There we go. What's that? I think I'm going to do it in a colour that could be either green or not green. It could either be a mushroom or a leaf. Let's go for the let's go for the cinnamon. And I'm just gonna put it like that. I don't think I want to do much sort of reflection or shading really, because it looks like a flat thing really to me. There we go. Now this one here, I quite like to try and do it in a slightly bronzy way. The yellow ochre is what I probably need. There it is. So I'm going to put that all over, including these little holes to start with, but I'm going to layer it up more on the edge and then less layers towards the middle, like that. And then start here, more layers here, and then less here. And then I'm going to do these little holes with a different colour. I quite like a brown. The walnut brown light might just suit us. Let's just give it a sharpen. Here it is. And these holes I'm going to do more at the bottom than the top. I want to try and make them look like holes. Now, of course, you might be thinking, oh, those are sticking out, not in. You might very well be right. And actually, as I colour them, that's exactly what they look like. So I haven't got the effect I wanted. But I think that's fine. Now this, I'm going to use this colour for as well, for our gills. So just a gentle layer. I'm going to try and do it in the direction that the lines are drawn. Now I'm thinking, do I try and put some three-dimensional look to this by trying to colour each of these little lines? My hungry belly is saying no, but I'm thinking I'm going to give it a go. It is quite intricate though, but there's a lot on show. I'm going to sharpen a bit more, and I'm just going to go along the edge of each line, just to one side. It doesn't matter which side you pick, as long as you just sort of stick to it really. And it just adds a bit of texture, I think, to our mushrooms, or the gills anyway. While I'm doing this, I need to think about what colour I'm doing the stem. We've done a lot of greys, haven't we? Maybe the almond or oyster, those sorts of colours might work. Not sure. I'm doing the best I can here. I'm probably not doing every one because they're so intricate, but just a few, and hopefully it's giving a bit of an effect. Okay, let's just do this bit down here. Now we've got like this little skirty bit and then the base. I'm tempted to do the base with this colour just a bit, because sometimes I think sometimes they're quite effective if you do them in browns. So I'm doing a little bit darker just on those edges. And then we'll use a light colour. Yeah, never used it yet. No, the oyster. Here it is for this. So I'm just going to make it a little bit thicker on the edge and then lighter towards the middle, and the same on this side. I'm always wondered whether I should really leave these white, some of them. If you buy mushrooms, so you know, edible ones, that bit's often white. But I'm just putting a bit of that on there as well. And let's have a look. Have we finished? There's a few bits here that look like they need a bit of finishing. You've probably done yours neater than mine. I'm not sure what colour they are. I think it's Prussian green. But you probably don't need to do this bit because you've probably done it already. There we go. A little bit of tidying up. There he is. There's our squirrely, I don't know, in his circle. So that is another one done. thank you for watching. Oh, that bit. I'm going to use the slate grey just to fill that in there, because that will be sort of shadowy. There we go. Just a last little fussy touch. So thank you for watching today. I hope that you have a really super day, and please come back tomorrow. I've got a cute little mouse and lots more lovely mushrooms and acorns to do tomorrow, so that'll be fun. But for now, thank you so much. Have a super day and happy colouring.